أهلا بيكم. النهاردة هنغوص في فصل محوري جدا في رواية امال عظيمة، الفصل 13.
أهلا بيكي، وفعلا فصل مليان تفاصيل مهمة.
معانا النص نفسه، وهدفنا النهاردة إننا نفهم أكتر زيارة بيب وجو للأنسة هافشام، الزيارة اللي كانت المفروض تكون بداية تدريب بيب المهني.
بالظبط، لكن اللي حصل كان أعقد من كده بكتير. كشفت عن توترات اجتماعية ومشاعر مشاعر معقدة قوي.
والبداية كانت لافتة للنظر أصلا، يعني استعداد جو نفسه للزيارة دي.
تماما، فكرة إن جو يلبس بدلة يوم الحد دي لوحدها كانت علامة.
تحس إنه خرج من منطقته الآمنة من الورشة.
هو ده الراجل البسيط الطيب بقى متوتر ومش على بعضه خالص. النص بيركز قوي على تفاصيل شكله، اللياقة بتاعت القميص.
أيوة، بيورينا قد إيه هو مش مرتاح، ومحاولته يظهر بشكل لائق زادت ارتباكه أكتر.
ودي أول إشارة لقوة الفوارق دي، فوارق الاجتماعية.
ولما وصلوا فعلا عند الأنسة هافشام الوضع بقى أغرب.
يعني دخوله وطريقته مسكه للقبعة وقفته نفسها كان مشهد غريب صراحة.
تحس إنه كان مشلول اجتماعيا تقريبا، مش بس مرتبك.
والأكتر غرابة بقى إنه كان مصمم يكلم بيب.
دي كانت نقطة غريبة جدا فعلا.
يعني بدل ما يوجه كلامه للأنسة هافشام مباشرة، لا، يكلم بيب حتى وهي بتسأله عن موافقة بيب نفسه.
تفتكر ده ليه؟ هل هو خوف ولا عدم فهم للموقف؟
ممكن يكون الاتنين، يعني هو غالبا شايفها في مستوى تاني خالص، طبقة تانية، لدرجة إنه مش عارف يتواصل معاها.
وطبعا بيب في النص كان يعني هيموت من الكسوف.
أكيد، خصوصا إن إستيلا كانت موجودة وشايفة كل حاجة.
وهنا السؤال، هل إحراج بيب كان بس من جو، ولا هو كمان بدأ يشوف جو بعين مختلفة شوية؟
ممكن جدا، عين متأثرة بنظرة إستيلا يمكن، أو يمكن ده كان بداية إحساسه هو بالاختلاف الطبقي ده.
بالظبط. والموقف وصل لذروته مع موضوع الفلوس.
25 جنيه الذهب الأنسة هافشام قررت تديهم لبيب كمكافأة،
وقالت له يسلمهم لجو اللي هو بقى سيده الجديد.
وهنا تاني نفس الموقف الغريب. جو خد الفلوس وشكر مين؟ شكر بيب.
وعب إن التعامل المفروض يكون مع الأنسة هافشام حاجة تحير.
وتأكيد الأنسة هافشام إن دي خلاص آخر فلوس، مفيش حاجة فاني جاية.
تماما. طيب خدوا الفلوس، إيه اللي حصل؟
أول حاجة جو قعد يردد كلمة واحدة.
مذهل.
بالظبط، كأنه مش مصدق اللي حصل.
لكن الأهم بقى اللي حصل بعدها عند بامبلتشوك.
سيد بامبلتشوك قريب جو، اللي دايما يحب ينسب الفضل لنفسه.
جو بدل ما يقول الحقيقة اخترع قصة تانية خالص.
أيوة، قال إن الفلوس دي هدية لأخته اللي هي مرات جو،
وإن الأنسة هافشام بعتتها عن طريق أصدقاء بيب، يعني حتى مش بيب مباشرة.
القصة دي غريبة فعلا. يا ترى ليه كدب؟ خايف من مراته؟
ممكن، أو يمكن حس إن فكرة المكافأة دي نفسها فيها حاجة مش مريحة بالنسبة له.
وارد جدا. وطبعا بامبلتشوك لقط الفرصة دي على طول.
أكيد عشان يظهر نفسه إنه هو السبب وهو اللي جاب الفلوس.
بالظبط، القصة دي خدمت الكل ما عدا بيب المسكين.
والفلوس دي استخدموها في إجراءات تسجيل بيب كمتدرب عند القضاء.
والمشهد ده كمان بامبلتشوك حوله المسرحية برضو،
وهو بيقدم بيب للقضاء كأنه مجرم، حاجة في منتهى الغرابة والإحراج لبيب.
كل ده كان بيزود إحساس بيب بالغربة.
وبعدين وصلنا للعشاء الاحتفالي في حانة الخنزير الأزرق، المفروض احتفال ببداية مستقبله.
لكن بالنسبة لبيب النص بيقول كان يوم كئيب جدا.
ليه بقى؟ مع انه المفروض يبقى يوم سعيد.
لانه حس انه مش جزء من الموضوع ده خالص، كان مجبر يبتسم ويتظاهر بالسعادة،
وهو من جواه مش طايق الوضع
تماما. وبامبلتشوك هو اللي كان نجم الليلة، بيخطب ويتكلم عن مستقبل بيب كأنه هو اللي عمله له.
كل ده وصل بيب بالنقطة
انه خلاص ما بقاش حابب شغلانة الحدادة اللي كان بيحبها زمان. اليقين ده وصله في نهاية اليوم ده.
يعني الزيارة دي كلها من اول ارتباك جو لحد الاحتفال البايخ ده
ما كانتش مجرد حدث وخلاص، دي كانت هي اللي حفرت الشرخ بين بيب وبين عالمه وبين مستقبله اللي كان مفروض يعيشه.
والفلوس بدل ما تكون مكافأة بقت سبب في كذب وتوتر أكتر.
بالظبط، اللحظة دي بلورت إحساس بيب إنه مش بينتمي للعالم ده وإنه عايز يهرب منه.
وده يخلينا نفكر إزاي موقف اجتماعي واحد زي ده
موقف مليان ارتباك طبقي ودخلت فلوس مفاجأة زي دي
إزاي ممكن يكشف شرخ عميق في علاقات الواحد باللي حواليه
ويغير نظرته لمستقبله كله بشكل جذري. نقطة تستحق التأمل فعلا.
Okay, let's dive in. You know, the first thing that really hits you is Joe. Not just Joe, but Joe and his Sunday best. Stiff collar, the works.
Yeah, it's such a contrast, isn't it, from the blacksmith we know.
Yeah.
Just shouts that something unusual is happening.
Exactly. That discomfort, that pulled up collar. It signals this is big, this visit to Miss Havisham with Pip.
Absolutely. And we're looking at this really pivotal moment described in the text. It's more than just a visit, isn't it? It's like worlds colliding.
Right. Pip's past, his expected future, and this glimpse of something else.
And that's what we're exploring today. Why this specific encounter is so significant.
We'll be digging into the excerpts, covering the whole thing, the journey there, the actual meeting, and what happened straight after.
Our kind of mission then is to unpack what this means for Pip, down the line, and what it tells us about all the characters in their relationship.
Yeah, the social dynamics, the expectations, it's all there.
And even before they get to Miss Havisham's, you see these little cracks appearing. Joe wrestling with his suit. It's funny, but it's also about class, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Stepping out of your comfort zone, trying to fit into a different world.
That suit is almost like a physical barrier. What does that tell you about the pressures they're feeling?
It highlights the gap, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then Pip's sister decides to tag along.
Oh, yes. This is Joe.
In that huge beaver bonnet and carrying, well, everything. The basket like the Great Seal, the patens, shawl, umbrella. On a fine day.
It's quite the entrance. The text sort of hints, is it penance or showing off?
Good question. It feels very performative somehow, like she needs to assert her importance in all this.
Could be. Or maybe just deep insecurity, a completely wrong idea of what's needed for this kind of event.
Could be. And that little detail, the chalk message, HOU on the Ford's door.
Right. It just flags up how unusual this whole thing is. Joe never goes out like this. It's a disruption.
A disruption to their routine, and as we'll see, a massive disruption brewing for Pip.
Then they finally arrive. Sada's house. And the mood shifts instantly.
Odessa opens the gate, cool as ever.
And Joe, he does that odd thing, weighing his hat in his hands. What is that?
It's pure awkwardness, isn't it? Like he's literally feeling the weight of the moment, the unfamiliarity. He's completely out of his element.
Yeah, it captures his unease perfectly. And Pip's watching all this,
You can sense Pip starting to see Joe differently through these new, slightly uncomfortable eyes.
And then they're in. Miss Havisham, at her dressing table, amongst all the decay.
And her first question to Joe. So blunt. You are the husband of the sister of this boy.
Straight away, she defines him only in relation to others. Not Joe Gargery, blacksmith, just the sister's husband.
Sets the power dynamic immediately.
Totally. And Joe's reaction looking completely bewildered, turning to Pip. The book compares him to a bird wanting a worm.
He looks lost. Why do you think he keeps talking to Pip, even when Miss Havisham asks him a question?
It's like Pip's his safety net, his interpreter in this bizarre alien environment. He needs that familiar connection.
Makes sense. He feels completely adrift otherwise.
And when Miss Havisham asks about the apprenticeship, Joe's answer is so. Joe. Heartfelt, talking about their friendship, how Pip wanted it. It were the wish of your own heart.
There's real affection there, but maybe also he doesn't quite grasp that Pip's feelings might be shifting a bit.
Exactly. He's seeing the Pip he knows, the child. But Pip's changing, and this whole experience is speeding that up.
Then comes the business with the indentures. Joe gives them to Pip.
And Pip hands them to Miss Havisham. And Pip says he feels shame.
That's shame. What's that about?
It's that creeping awareness of social class, isn't it?
Yeah.
Suddenly, his connection to honest, decent Joe feels like something embarrassing in this context.
Oof. Yeah. And Miss Havisham just drops that comment. You expected no premium with the boy.
So casual, but it underlines their position, doesn't it? Her power, their lack of it.
Definitely. And when Pip has to prompt Joe to answer her later, Joe gets genuinely hurt.
Which, I mean to say that we're not a question requiring a answer betwixt yourself and me. He feels that bond, that unspoken understanding, is being questioned.
It shows how close they were, that easy understanding they had. Now it's getting complicated.
But Miss Havisham seems to. She kind of gets Joe, surprisingly. Sees his honesty, perhaps.
And then she gives him the money. The 25 guineas.
And Joe just short circuits. Total bewilderment.
That rambling, overly polite thank you. Again, aimed mostly at Pip. It's awkward, but you can't help but feel for him.
You really can't. He's so overwhelmed, his usual words just fail him.
And then Miss Havisham just dismisses Pip, tells Joe Pip's been a good boy, and that is your reward.
So cryptic. What does she even mean by that? Is it genuine? Or is it part of her strange games?
Who knows with her? And Joe's exit, trying to go back upstairs by mistake.
Perfectly captures his disorientation, just utter confusion.
But then on the way to Pumblechook's, the text says Joe has cooked up a subtle and deep design. Suddenly he's scheming.
Well, maybe not scheming exactly, but perhaps a bit of quick thinking. A protective instinct kicking in. He might not understand his Havisham, but he knows his sister-in-law.
Ah, right. He knows how to handle Mrs. Joe and Pumblechook.
Exactly, which we see immediately when they get there.
Mrs. Joe's sarcastic welcome, of course.
And Joe starts this whole performance conveying Miss Havisham's compliments, pretending Pip has to prompt him about her health.
It's almost comical. He's controlling the story, isn't he? Managing their reactions.
Definitely. And then the bombshell. Miss Havisham gave Pip nothing.
Pause for effect.
Then the clarification. The money wasn't for Pip, it was for his friends, meaning Mrs. Joe.
And the confusion over his own name, Joe or Jorge, is that real confusion or part of the act?
Hard to say. Maybe a bit of both. But it works. He knows exactly which buttons to push with Mrs. Joe.
He understands her priorities, all right. Money talks.
And Pumblechook, nodding along, acting like he knew all along. Such an opportunist.
Oh, completely. Then Joe starts hinting at the amount, £5.
Pumblechook chimes in. What a handsome sum. Already sucking up.
Joe keeps going. 10, 15, 20.
And Pumblechook just gets more and more sycophantic, worthy personages.
Yeah.
It's nauseating, really.
And then the reveal. £25. Pumblechook practically explodes with fake praise for Mrs. Joe's amazing merits.
It just exposes the hypocrisy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The greed bubbling right under the surface.
Absolutely. And what's Pumblechook's very next move?
Get Pip bound.
Yeah.
Immediately. Strike while the iron in the money is hot.
It feels so transactional, like Pip's just a commodity being traded.
Mm-hmm. The whole scene at the town hall sounds grim, like being processed, not celebrated. The strange setting, Pumblechook manhandling Pip.
Giving the onlookers a bad impression, and that weird gift of a religious tract, so out of place.
It all adds to Pip's feeling of being trapped, railroaded into this life.
Then the celebration dinner at the Blue Boar.
Where Pip feels like an excrescence, a spare part, everyone telling him to enjoy himself, which just makes it worse.
And Pumblechook takes charge, of course, making these dire pronouncements about what'll happen if Pip misbehaves.
Laying down the law, now that he feels involved. And then Mr. Wopsel's dramatic performance.
Getting told off by the other customers, it just highlights the awkwardness, Pip's isolation in the middle of it all.
Even the journey home, with Wopsel singing loudly. It all feels slightly off, doesn't it? Forced jollity covering something else.
Yeah. And the final scene, Pip alone in his little room.
That crushing realization hits him. I should never like Joe's trade.
It's devastating. This one visit, this taste of something different has completely changed his perspective, irrevocably.
So if we step back and look at the whole sequence,
Yeah.
what are the main threads?
Well, you've got Joe's loyalty, his goodness, but also his total discomfort outside his own world.
You've got Miss Havisham, utterly strange, using her money and status to manipulate or at least observe.
Pumblechook and Mrs. Joe. Naked self-interest and hypocrisy.
Yeah, and running through it all is Pip's growing unease. His awareness of class, his shame, his dawning dissatisfaction with the life laid out for him.
That's the core of it, isn't it? This visit ignites his ambition, his desire for something better, even if he doesn't know what that is yet.
It really shows how a single event, even one filled with awkwardness and misunderstanding, can just change everything for a young person.
Absolutely. So here's something to chew on. How does this tangle of emotions, the shame, the aspiration, the awkwardness, actually set Pip on his future path? What does this first real brush with wealth and status teach him, maybe wrongly, about what's truly valuable in life, and what might be the real cost of chasing those great expectations?
Definitely something to think about, that pull between loyalty and ambition.